This car had not seen a proper detail for about 5 months, and you guys are in for a treat. From a distance it may look like a normal day, perhaps a laid back car wash will be more than enough for the detail. But we did take a close up look, there are a lot, and I mean a lot of problems that need to be addressed. The tires were blooming so much, there is abrasive grit all over the place, traffic film caked panels, sand dust everywhere, and a certainly not safe to drive in dirty windows. This is not the worst vehicle I have worked on, but man, it's been a while, and this will be a fun detail for me and an entertaining video for you. I will show you my whole step-by-step process on what I would do to clean a heavily soiled vehicle like this. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon, so that way you're notified with every video that I upload. It's been a while since my last upload, and it is great to be back making videos again. I am very active on Instagram, so make sure to follow me there to see my next project and status for the next video. There's a lot of work to do, so grab a couple of snacks, kick back, and certainly enjoy the video. Like with any detail, the prep process is important as you do not want to be running back and forth with missing tools and chemicals during the session. I have made a lot of improvements to my detailing home garage setup to help me be more efficient with my process. I got rid of the detailing cart a while back because it was just getting rusty and it took a lot of space, if I am honest with you. I decided to go with a garage wire rack setup to take advantage of the vertical space available in my garage. I love how the setup turned out, and if you guys are interested in a full video about my home garage detailing setup and how it was built, make sure to drop a comment down below on what you would like to know and I'll share my info. Also, all of the products, tools, and chemicals that I will use in this video will be linked in the description down below or on my website in case you are interested. They are affiliate links, so by using those links you can support me directly at no additional cost to you. Thank you very much in advance if you do. In case you do not see something you are looking for, let me know in the comment section below and I will help you out. Back to the detail. The wheels were up first. When it comes to severe tire blooming, there is really no way to clean it with just regular degreaser and would require a different cleaner after the wash. And worry not, I will show you how I remove the blooming shortly. Now, the tires were in really rough shape, and with just a bit of wheel and tire cleaner, the surface immediately foamed up in a disgustingly chocolatey mess. Just as a reminder, this is a daily driven vehicle and it had not been fully detailed for several months, with salty and dusty San Diego beach weather. So a lot of manual and chemical work was needed. I had used a strong dilution at 1:1 for this tire because the recommended servings on the back of the product labels are just comically too weak and would not really solve anything. On top of that, this vehicle was in such a mess, so really you're going to have to break several rules and think critically out of the box to see which methods and chemicals are going to have the most effective clean while making logical sense. After cleaning the tire, instead of rinsing the spent product, I went ahead and worked on the fenders just to let the chemical work on the rubber for a little longer as I work above. The fenders were not difficult to clean, surprisingly, as they were just plastic fenders and the grime came off with ease. Not much to say here. Then, after a bit of scrubbing, the whole surface was flushed out with water swiftly. Now, because this vehicle was really unpredictable, just to be sure that I got most of the grime off, I did a test spot and cleaned a small section of the rubber to see if the foam would remain white or turn brown. With a bit of agitation, sadly, it turned brown, which indicates that there is still residual grime on the surface and would require another pass for a thorough clean. In order to remove the tire blooming effectively, the rubber surface needs to be as clean as possible in order for the chemical to have a better effect. Finally, the wheels. I am fully aware that the matte wheels are oxidized and that there is really nothing I can do to permanently fix this without going out of bounds of what the customer requested. So, I decided to roll with it and take advantage of its current state by using an acidic wheel cleaner to thoroughly cleanse the surface of its many-month-old impurities. Several bristle brushes were used to agitate the surface for the cleaner to have a better effect. As expected, the foam turned white and there was a lot of chocolate sludge coming out of the spokes. Thankfully, the wheels were not so bad and they were easily cleaned with one pass. Then, a generous rinse was done to ensure no alkaline or acidic residues lingered throughout the wash process. Afterwards, I repeated all of those steps 3 additional times. Instead of just repeating the same footage, allow me to educate you a bit on my wheel cleaning thought process. Whenever I get really oxidized wheels and tires that have not been cleaned in months, there really is no point going the gentle route. I just stick with bristle brushes and strong cleaners. Period. What is the point of doing a swirl-free cleaning session if the surface is not free of any swirls or surface defects? I think it is just a big waste of time and products that I believe detailers who do such things are probably relying too much on what they see online to implement in their business. Sure, if you want to record a nice video and make it look all pretty for your customers to go see online, go ahead. No one is stopping you. That's perfectly fine. However, if your goal is to run an actual business, stop copying whatever you see online and get to work by creating SOPs that are efficient, effective, and make logical sense based on what you're trying to achieve and what the customer had paid for. What you see online is not always a one-to-one replica of what a business experiences on a daily basis. By not having standard procedures can lead you to a lot of downtime, product wasted, and naturally, with all those in mind, a lower paycheck because you were hyper-focused on things that do not financially benefit the business. Observe what you're doing constructively, so when you make critical decisions, it can help you become more profitable, successful in your business. There was so much traffic film, salt, and sand dust creating an abrasive slush on this vehicle that this automatically called for a high cleaning pre-wash process because there was no way water alone was going to address it. Now, salt and sand is a unique organic material because of how it reacts with specific cleaners. With that said, I went with an acidic shampoo to chemically loosen, or at best, dissolve those abrasives and let the natural lubricity of the soap glide all of those impurities off the surface. Additionally, because of its chemical reaction, this will also deep clean the surface of any residual grime and break down previously installed protectants so I can apply a fresh layer of wax for better bonding. The whole vehicle was lathered in high cleaning acidic bubbles and left to dwell for a couple of minutes. During the time of this detail, it was a pretty cool and cloudy day, which made it perfectly safe to let the pre-wash do this thing for a while longer. Taking a closer look of the foam, we could see there was a lot of grime and gunk being pulled right off, and with just the natural chemistry of the cleaner. It was hard to capture on camera, but the foam was a soft tan color, and there were clumps of sand and dirt dripping down in an oddly satisfying manner. With these visual indicators, we can conclude that the pre-wash is indeed dislodging and dissolving some of the surface impurities with ease. I always endorse detailers to perform a pre-wash because of the bulk of the grime can be addressed without any manual labor and can certainly speed up the process with less junk in the way. Now, this car had swirls and scratches all over, so there was no reason to perform any delicate practices. However, with the amount of surface dirt and sand present, it was a no-brainer to do a pre-wash and just let the cleaner do all of the work for me instead of manual agitation. Because there was an excessive amount of muck all over, I decided to pre-wash the whole surface again to allow the cleaner to really pull off all of those impurities. I really do not want to go in with a lot of elbow grease for those stuck-on bird bombs, so in the meantime I prep the rest of my stuff. In my wash bucket I pour a few glugs of the same soap, and my wash mitt of choice is an all-purpose towel. I will only use one towel and about 1 gallon of wash solution for the whole entire detail. I am sure the audience who are used to seeing detailing influencers use 2 buckets, 4 grit guards, and 10 heaping gallons of water to wash a small sedan are questioning this decision. In my response, this vehicle has way too many defects and issues all around. The only thing a Swirl Free Wash process can accomplish on this specific vehicle is wasted time, water, product, and maybe, just maybe, you'll achieve satisfying visuals for social media. Now, to be very clear, there is nothing wrong if that is the sole reason to do such a process for marketing purposes, but I cannot say that it is efficient or logical to do that in a business environment. Now, this pre-wash process is technically one of those swirl-free processes, but I am not doing it to be gentle on the surface. There is a lot of caked on grime and abrasive sand that my wash mitt would certainly overload, and I would just be smearing grime all over the place without addressing the issue. The pre-wash will knock off a majority of the contamination, so that way I do not have to work double during the contact wash. I mean, it makes logical sense. Let the cleaner do all of the work for you, so when you go rinse the spent product, the surface junk will fall off with ease, allowing for a safer and more efficient contact wash without having to overthink the process. This structure works perfectly for me and my business. However, I want to know you guys' opinion, so make sure to let me know in the comment section below if you agree or not with what I am doing here. Feel free to share any methods that you would do in a mature and constructive response. This contact wash is the messiest part of this detail, as grit and grime seems to be on every surface and material imaginable. I started on the roof, which by the way is completely made of rough textured plastic, as it is a removable roof. Plastic has a tendency to hold on to the grime a lot more than clear coated paint, so in order to thoroughly cleanse the surface, I ditched the wash mitt and instead used the same bristle brush for the wheels. Of course, making sure it was thoroughly rinsed until clean. This rough textured plastic roof was seriously caked with bird bombs and grit, so by using a bristle brush you can achieve a greater level of clean by being a little more hands-on with organic elbow grease. You can't really scratch or swirl rough plastic like this, so might as well take advantage of that to complete the job faster and more efficiently. Next, I lathered the whole vehicle in the same acidic soap from the PreWash. I really wanted to make sure that the remaining 10% or less of grit and films can be removed in this last contact wash step. Additionally, any previously applied protectants will likely be shocked right off for a fresh coat to be applied. And no, this vehicle is not ceramic coated in any form. Folding my wash mitt in fours, I started from the top and worked my way to the bottom. Now I am certain my audience already knows the drill on how to wash a vehicle, so instead of repeating myself, I will elaborate on why I am avoiding the traditional safe wash process for this detail. This vehicle has a lot of marring and swirls all over the paint that really, there would be no benefit to performing a swirl-free wash if the surface is not free of any. So really, there is no need to take out 2 buckets, grit guards, and a bunch of bucket dunking. Why? Well, allow me to show you why. Have a look on what happened to my towel with just a few wipes across the oxidized matte vinyl sticker that is on the hood. My wash towel had been severely stained on one side and for sure has a lot of abrasive junk stuck onto it. No matter how much I rinse it or toss it in the laundry, that mitt is now soiled with residual films, and by the way, that's not mentioning the microplastics that are on the vinyl, and it is loaded with abrasive grit because the vehicle was in critical condition. Additionally, if I had used a 2-bucket method to perform a so-called safe wash process and rubbed that same mitt on the grit guards, well, congratulations, your rinse and wash bucket are now contaminated with grit and films. Remember guys, grit guards only protect you from abrasive particles, but grit guards will not and shall not protect you from residual films, because those films are in a liquid state which would immediately contaminate both buckets no matter how much you wring it out on the side or rinse your mitt. Do not go performing any swirl-free wash processes because it will just be a waste of your time and product. Obviously, this does not mean you should use stiff bristle brushes all over the vehicle. That is not what I'm saying, but you should take a couple steps back and analyze what you are doing to see if the process you are performing is effectively cleaning the vehicle while being efficient. With that said, let's get back to the wash. The grit and grime was out of control that I had to flip my towel several times because it was getting soiled with environmental junk. Using general purpose towels comes in clutch for details like these, because imagine if I had used one of my quality $10 wash pads, well, that would immediately go to the trash because of the amount of junk that would be stuck onto the fibers of the premium mitt. Throwing away a $1 towel is far more forgiving than a double-digit mitt. So when you get a vehicle that has clear signs of neglect, abrasive grit, residual films, oxidation, and other organic abominations, do not waste your time and trying to perform delicate processes. Trust your gut and think logically of what you are doing, and I can guarantee you that you will complete the detail more efficiently and effective. No matter how much acidic soap I drenched this car in, no chemical will truly remove the embedded grit and particles that are on the surface. For this, I had to clay the vehicle lightly with a clay towel. Before my viewers start commenting, no, this is not a dedicated clay service. I am only using this towel because it is quick and just light enough to remove the greater surface particles. Just to be efficient with this detail, the remaining acidic wash solution was used as my slip solution for the clay towel to glide on the surface with ease. I only used light to medium pressure and rubbed the towel in linear motions as much as possible until the surface felt smoother. Obviously, a clay towel will never achieve the precision and greater removal of contamination as a traditional clay bar, but this was better than nothing, to be fair. I was short on time, and the owner was only looking for a wash, so as a bonus, a gentle clay was fitting for this detail. The process was repeated throughout, and I am glad that the weather was in my favor to allow the acidic soap to dwell a little longer on the surface to cleanse the vehicle of any lingering fumes. After a thorough wash and claying session, it was then time to protect the vehicle. Just to make sure the drying process is a lot simpler for myself, I went with a wet applying paint protectant to be liberally sprayed all over the vehicle and then touched up with a quick detailer afterwards. I know not every detailer would agree with this method, as wet applying protectants are a lot more expensive than traditional wax, but this is one of those products where you are buying time and ease of use, and considering I was short on time during this detail, this was perfectly fine to use, and there is no problem to use something like this on a car where perfection is not needed. So I caused a lot of carpal tunneling on my wrist by spraying the protectant around the vehicle until the surface was hydrophobic enough. There are instances where the surface has a lot of texture like embedded particles and would require a few layers of protectant. This only happened on the roof and the hood, so if this happens to you, just add another coat. With the vehicle protected, I then proceeded to the drying process with my handy electric leaf blower, venting a lot of air where needed. As you could see on the camera, this is an effortless process, and because I am using deionized water, I can just let the vehicle air dry on its own while I focus my attention on other more important matters. Without even touching the vehicle, you could see the surface is shining beautifully, and I have not even done a quick detail spray wipe down to boost the gloss. This is a great wet applying protectant if you ask me. After the general airs were blown out, I then focused on drying the wheels and tires in preparation for the next step of the detail. For this, I do not use a leaf blower, instead a handheld blower with a narrow pattern that vents hot air. There are a lot of textures and crevices on the wheels and tires, and I really need the surface to be as dry as possible for the next step. Maybe in warmer weather they could have been air dried with the leaf blower alone, but in my circumstances with chilly skies, the handheld hot air blower was a good choice. Now for the moment you guys have been waiting for, the tire blooming removal process. This is really easy, as you only need two things: a strong chemical and a lot of elbow grease, and I mean a lot of elbow grease. Here are some before shots after the cleaning and drying process for the wheels and tires, and we could see that the rubber is really brown despite all of the aggressive degreasing clears we have used. The matte wheels are severely oxidized, and worry not, I will show you my solution for that in a minute. To remove tire blooming, you only need a couple of cheap throwaway towels and a strong solvent cleaner of some sort, for example a tar remover. All you need to do is spray a moderate amount of cleaner on the rubber and a light amount on your towel, and then wipe it on with heavy pressure. Right away, you could see the browning of the tire is no longer present. Moments after literal scrubbing, you could see the half that I worked on looks significantly better than what it did before. A clean tire is not only easier to maintain, but will help applied protectants last longer, as it has direct bondage with the rubber. Now, I said to use cheap throwaway towels for a reason, and that is because the oxidized surface of the tire is just a mucky layer of worn out rubber, and considering how it is going to severely soil a towel, there is no point in wasting time and effort trying to wash it off. It is worse than engine grease, and you should not rub this towel on any other surface after using it, so dispose the towel safely and responsibly. Depending on how severe the tire blooming is and the size of the tire, you may go through a bunch of towels, even flipping several times. Unfortunately, I did not have any engine or throwaway towels reserved, and I had to use fresh Costco towels that certainly broke my heart after usage. Still, these yellow towels are cheap enough to discard after one use, and you may even get away with some knockoff brands on Amazon if you find any. To further prove my wheel and tire cleaning skills, I used a pink glass cleaning hug towel to show you guys how clean this tire is after the blooming removal process. I added a spritz of glass cleaner to wipe away any streaks, rubbing the tire generously, wiping the spokes, and mopping up the face of the wheel. With plenty of vertical and horizontal movements, I am glad to show this wheel and tire are so clean that it did not stain my towel and I can use it on the glass. Using a bright colored and clean towel is your only way to find out if you have properly removed the blooming on your tires. Again, use a cheap towel that you do not mind messing up, but make sure it is a fresh towel, one that had not been used at all, to check for any remaining blooming, and then you could just proceed from there if you find any. For my audience members that are detailing as a business, please do your best to charge accordingly for a tire blooming removal service like this because of how unpredictable the tire can be. Do not have a fixed price and charge based off the severity and the size of the tire. This service needs a lot of elbow grease and a strong chemical to treat oxidized tires. This is not like quoting a car wash for a small sedan. For this crossover, the tires were not too bulky or large, and I only took about maybe 20 minutes to do the job. But imagine if this was a large off-roading truck with massive tires with treads and designs all over. Yeah, that will certainly be a solid hour if you do not have much experience with tire blooming removal. Do not waste your precious time, effort, and chemicals. Charge accordingly that best reflects what you're trying to do for the vehicle and communicate thoroughly with the customer to see what best suits for them. With a clean surface, now it is time to condition the wheels and tires. The rest of the vehicle has droplets of deionized water, so in the time that it completely evaporates, I can condition the boots while that is happening. Because these matte wheels are oxidized, there is no permanent solution to address the issue other than buying a new set of rims. However, there is a temporary fix to hydrate the surface for a more presentable appearance if replacing the rims is not preferred. In this case, I had used an all-purpose dressing at 1:1 dilution for both the wheels and tires, each having its own brush for application. For the tires, I reserved a flat tip wheel brush only for applying dressings on the tires or engine area. This helps make sure that every crevice was evenly coated, especially for larger tires with complex designs. Not a lot of product was used to ensure no slinging occurs, but just enough for even coverage. For the wheels, I sprayed a very fine mist on the face and worked in the product with a soft synthetic brush, again, reserved only for applying dressings. This tool helps to evenly spread the product around the surface quickly, even the fine crevices where an applicator pad would struggle to access. After a thorough application, I do not buff the wheel and tire. Instead, I let the product dwell for a while longer in the meantime that I work on the other wheels and tires. I know everyone is wondering why I had used a dressing to condition matte wheels. So, the matte wheels are oxidized beyond repair. Let's just agree from there. There is no permanent solution to this other than replacing them entirely. However, a temporary solution is hydrating the surface exactly like plastic trim, which also happens to have a matte texture. When I discovered this, my thought process was, well, if the dressing can darken and make plastic trim look nice, then logically, the same should apply to matte wheels, a finish that is identical to plastic trim. And sure enough, the dressing is totally compatible with matte wheels. Obviously, this will not last months, but for sure will make the wheel presentable for the weeks to come, and even if it comes off in the next wash, reapplying the conditioner is no challenge and will only take a minute. So this technique is beneficial for car owners who want to make sure their oxidized wheels look clean and presentable without having to replace them at all. This is just one water-based dressing I am demonstrating, so feel free to try this out with different similar conditioners that you may have. After all wheels and tires have been coated, I then moved on to leveling and buffing the spent product for an even finish. Both wheel and tire areas had separate towels. I did not use the same towel to cover both areas just to be organized and clean with the process. With the tire blooming removed, I can 100% confirm that the rubber feels a whole lot smoother, like there is no greasy resistance on my towel. It is just gliding like butter, which is a good sign that the conditioner is bonding directly onto the rubber. As for the wheels, it was a little bit more hands-on, applying medium pressure to the towel to remove any high spots as they are more visible on matte finish. The spokes, bolts, and face were all evenly buffed and resulted in a high quality finish that I am sure you guys could agree looks hundreds of times better than previously. While not difficult to remove blooming or conditioning the matte wheels, it is these simple services that really change the visual language of a vehicle and can certainly turn some heads in the block when done correctly. There are many ways to condition wheels and tires, so if you have any methods that you would like to share, make sure to let me know in the comment section below. This last part of the detail is just cleaning the glass and using a quick detailer to touch up any spots. I am sure my audience knows the drill on how to do this properly, so instead I will give you guys some key takeaways to wrap up this video. I think the biggest controversy people will have with this detail was the wash process. Now, when you get a vehicle that has a severe amount of swirls and defects on top of the kicked on grime, there really is no logic nor benefit in performing any swirl-free wash practices because the vehicle itself is not free of it. Sure, if you get a car that was recently paint corrected to 90% plus defect removal, then yes, take any precautions necessary. However, let's be real, the average detailing customer does not have nor care for a service like that, so really those delicate wash processes are just over-exaggerated methods heavily showcased by influencers, and it does not really reflect what our industry truly is from a business perspective. I personally think those methods are inefficient and can set up the detailer for failure to complete the job in a timely manner that remains logical and profitable. With that said, some might say, but Cardo, isn't the pre-wash you did technically a swirl-free wash process? In my response, yes. However, I did not do that to prevent swirls. I went with that method because there was a severe amount of contamination all over the vehicle, and I wanted to pre-clean the surface as much as I could so that way I do not have to do a lot of manual labor during the contact wash. The rabbit hole for this subject has no end, and I really do not want to overwhelm you guys, but if you guys would like me to continue this open conversation, make sure to let me know in the comment section below, and I can prep a video that better explains what I am talking about. And that is going to be a wrap for this video. Sorry I have not been that active recently, as I am working on a special project that is a service for detailers. Yes, you heard that right. I am working on something for all of you, my viewers, and other detailers alike. I won't share what it is yet, but you can occasionally find a sneak peek or two on my social medias, so make sure to follow me there when this project drops. I am not quitting detailing or YouTube. I am simply too busy on this project that it is taking most of the work time to get it up and running. So if you have watched this video up to this point, I want to thank you for sticking around. Your support really encourages me to keep moving forward with this community. Engage in the video by leaving a like and comment. And if you want to see more videos like these, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that way you're notified with every video that I upload. If you want to take it a step further, use my affiliate links to support me directly. All the products that I support and still using are located in the description down below or on my website, and they are affiliate links, and I do get a commission for your purchase at no additional charge, so thank you in advance if you use my links to support me directly. That is going to be it, guys. This detail was a blast, and there will be many more to come. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and you guys have a good time. See you on the next one at Cardo's.